What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today on the table in front of us, we have a new knife made by Ganzo, but this is the Adimanti Neformat. This is a design by a guy named Skimen, S-K-I-M-E-N. I may be mangling that. If I am, I apologize. In the box with the knife actually comes this. This is a picture of the designer and a description of the Neformat. And it looks to be, for all intents and purposes, a new direction for Ganzo. Now, I know other people have reviewed these, but I finally got my hands on one. You'll notice this is purple. Again, that's because this is going to join Women Carry Knives collection, so I thought purple was appropriate. This is a very interesting knife from Ganzo, because in the last year, they have, and I have some examples. This is the FH61. This is the FH71. This is not my favorite knife in the world, but it does represent what we're talking about. They have improved their manufacturing over and over again to the point where they are producing just phenomenally well-made budget knives. So now they have invited a new designer in to make a knife under his own name or a different name, the Adimanti line. This is what the box looks like. Although it does come with the traditional Ganzo pouch. This is a really interesting knife. It didn't actually appeal to me initially. I have a lot of D2 knives. I don't really lean into them that hard anymore. But this one got such good reviews that I figured I would order one and check it out. And I'm really glad that I did, because what you get for your 43 bucks, and that is a lot for a Ganzo, but it's a little different than your average Ganzo. What you get for your Ganzo is a gorgeous D2 blade with a perfect grind. It comes to a very nice edge. You get, of course, their flawless G10 on steel liner, but on this side, the entire lock side is a steel lock side. And it has a really nice deep carry clip. Now, it looks like it wouldn't be that great, but man, this thing slips in and out of jeans, big thick jeans even, very, very well. Now, you guys know I have a very large hand, and this knife still fits quite well in my hand. The fit and finish on this Adimanti are, well, flawless. I mean, I went over this thing with a magnifying glass, looking for a reason to complain, because I didn't want it to be perfect, because it's still a Ganzo knife and it's $43 and I was going to complain about that, but I can't. This knife is, well, very, very good. And I just can't get over how beautiful the blade is, right? It is very stabby. It has a lovely belly. It has great flat. There is no smile back here. It comes right to the end of the plunge grind and then comes to a perfect edge back here. It has this beautiful swedge across the top that gives it both character and makes it even more stabby, if that was your thing. Because of the relatively high flat grind, it does come to a very, very nice slicey edge. The tip is more robust than it looks because of this upper swedge, but there's plenty of material right here, so you don't have to worry about this tip if you were to pry. Please don't pry with your knives, but if you were, this would survive. It has a ceramic ball glass breaker on the back. Now, I'm not a huge fan of glass breakers on my knives, but this one is not sharp and stabby. It's just ceramic, so it will break glass. It has a G10 backspacer that is black, that has a built-in lanyard loop in it. It's very hard to see, but it's actually inside this corner. I wouldn't want to try to navigate paracord through there, but people who love lanyards just might. Can you even see that? There we go. This little ridge right here, that's actually a space. It's very nice. The action, oh, come on. This knife has been in the house long enough for me to carry it and play with it. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you're showing off for the camera. It's been in and out of my pocket. I've done some cutting with it. It just, I wonder if I can break it. Hold on. Yeah, no. The detent is really well done, and because it is a steel lock side, You don't have to worry about the any titanium touching the hardened steel of the blade. This thing is going to last a good long time. And once again, God, that action is fun. Little tiny flipper tab, right? Perfect action every single time. At $43, this knife is competing with sort of the higher mid-range of things like CRKT and certainly, well, knives like that. God, Kershaw. That's, y'all ever had a really long day? I'm having one right now. Anyway, it's competing with brands like Kershaw and CRKT in the $40 to $45 range. And I got to tell you, recently I've had a chance to hold some of CRKT and some of Kershaw's new $40 to $50 range stuff. This is as good, if not better, in literally every way. It is running on bearings. It is just an excellent pocket knife. Centering is dead on. I mean, this thing came out of the box a little oily, but other than that, absolutely ready to rock and roll. And I love that about this knife. Let's get some specs out of the way, because that's what we do. If we line it up here on the line, you get 1, 2, 3.5 inches of D2. That's the cutting on just a little under 3.5 inches if you come to the end of the scale right here of D2 at this level. So the cutting edge is actually longer than the top of the blade, which is a cool design. I love that. If we move this past the flipper, you get 1, 2, 3, 3.5 going up to 3 3/4 inches of grip area. Now, interestingly enough, my pinky does ride right on this line, but it's not sharp. And so I still feel like I get a really good grip. Would I like it if the handle was a 1/2 inch longer? Well, of course I would. I like longer knives. But if your hands aren't the size of mine, this thing is going to fit beautifully in your hands. The overall knife, let's line that up right there, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just under 8 inches. And if you include the little glass breaker, it's at 8 inches long. It's a really nicely sized knife. I really enjoy that. Let's take a look at the blade stock, shall we? Let's do the handle first, since we're already on inches. It is relatively thin, coming in under 1/2 inch at the thickest part on the handle, which means it is very thin in the pocket. The blade stock itself is just over 3.5 millimeters, which means that it comes down to, it's not very thick to begin with, and it is crowned beautifully. It's crowned here at the jimping, and then it's flat after that where this swedge kicks in, but it's still been knocked down. It's not sharp. It's only sharp exactly where it's supposed to be, and in fact, the whole knife is that way. All of the edges on this have been smoothed out and rounded. There is a lot of thought and energy that went into this thing. It is an absolute joy. And I love that. I do. I've been saying for a year since Ganzo started making their nicer knives that I wanted them to really step into the market, and they have with this knife. Now, you don't have to get a purple one. They make them in black and I think orange. I, of course, ordered purple, again, because this is going to join Women Carry Knives in her collection. The weight on this is 4.2 ounces. And that is because on the show side, it is milled out. And on the lock side, there's milling inside the steel liner. They put a ton of thought into this knife. And that makes me very, very happy. I want companies like Ganzo to be successful. I want them to stop making, homages to other knives and really focus on their capacity to make good budget knives. And this is that, for sure. Let's knock some size comparisons out of the way while we've got it on the table so you guys know how big it is compared to stuff you may or may not recognize. This, of course, is the Benchmade Bug Out, a very popular and reasonably small knife. As you can see, the Adimanti is not much bigger than this, although you do get a whole lot more blade on about 3/4 of an inch more knife. I mean, really, it's just scaled up. It has very similar dimensions to the Bug Out. It's just a bigger knife. If we bring out the Rat Model 1, you will see that it is, of course, considerably smaller than that, but the Rat 1 is a big knife. That's kind of why we use it. What else can we compare this against? Well, since it's still on the table, this is the, speaking of Kershaw, this is the Kershaw Bare Knuckle in CPM 20 CV. This is a $100 knife. It is a little larger than our friend here, the $43 Adimanti Neformat. Neformat. Or Neformat. Hang on. I'm going to get it right for you guys. It is N-E-F-O. Excuse me. God. I think I need a nap. You spell it Neformat. Neformat. Which I imagine means new format. Anyway, as you can see up against the Kershaw, it's a little bit smaller than the Kershaw. Of course, the Kershaw here offers considerably better blade steel, but if you buy this in its standard form with the 14C28N blade instead of the CPM 20 blade, 20CV blade, they're within about $10 of each other, $12 of each other in price. This is a little cheaper, and I can recommend it. I really can. So there we are. This is the Adimanti Neformat, made by Ganzo. It is, I think, as far as I know, it is their first designer knife. Skimen is apparently a knife designer, or at least he designed this knife. And to my eye and to my understanding of what makes a good knife, he has done an exceptionally good job. I hope you give this thing a shot if you're looking for good knives in D2 and G10. I love the fact that it has a steel lock side. I think that is great. It is very comfortable in hand. It is reasonably lightweight, and it is very well made. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments. Please like the video on your way out, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd love to have you here on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.